Jesus in a tux, everywhere I go is kingdom come, dad gum, my inheritance so long that it causes conundrums. Wanna understand what I stand on? Yo, it's a brain blast, Jimmy Neutron, yeah. Don't need a mic to drop it, don't need a space to rock it. Don't gotta click the copy, I got it. They call me a pastor prophet, a prophet, I can't knock it, I can't stop it.
Hello there, I'm AJ, the Sheriff of the Creatives, live here in Tucson, aka the desert. I'm reporting for WWTCD, What Would the Creatives Do? And the breaking news for today is God versus my emotions. Are they the same or separate? So with no further ado, welcome to the Smooth It. Coach Me is up to you.
Wonderful intro this morning and evening, because it is 7:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, and it's already started, y'all.
He's in China.
Right. Anyway, we want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. And as you heard AJ say, today we are talking about our emotions versus the voice of God. So we are going to kick it off with our first question for the evening. Are my emotions and God the same thing? What do you have to say, Camille?
Are they?
Well, we're not gonna find that. We're not gonna find out this podcast.
I know, right? So when we just talk about our emotions, we first think about like, okay, am I gonna be mad? Am I gonna be sad? Am I gonna cry? Am I gonna yell? Those are our emotions. Like, yes. But then when it's a matter of whether or not it's God, the way that I feel like I can probably identify with that is just like, you ever get that like undeniable urge to do something that you know you wouldn't even do? Because
hey,
let's just
get up out my house. Get out.
Right, like let's just keep it 100. Like let's just keep it real. Is that there's certain things that we all be like, I know that was not me, because I wouldn't want to give that dollar up, or I wouldn't want to hand that cheeseburger over, because I'm sensitive about my food. So I know what it's all about. But honestly, like there's been certain situations that I've been in where I knew it was, look, if it's something that you don't want to do, but you do it anyway, I feel like there goes a separation right there of your emotions versus God, because God's character is good. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to comfort you. He's gonna feed you. He's gonna talk to you deliberately and intentionally. So that's how I feel about that. I honestly feel like those things that something too, like once you get out of your bag, aka emotions, right? Like it's always something where you like there's a correction sometimes too that takes place in your emotions, where you feel like, oh wait, I took it too far, let me apologize. Because even the people who don't apologize, we're gonna work on you today. But but the people who don't apologize or feel like they shouldn't, but they end up doing it, that could very well easily be the voice and spirit of God talking to you. Go apologize to that person. Go, you know what I'm saying? Like that could be part of it too. So that's my rap. Gabby?
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away.
Come on.
Take it away. So I was like, I guess it's a gift from the Lord. So I think that like as emotions in a sense, like kind of like an indicator, you know, like when you stub your toe, you feel pain, or like maybe if you cut yourself, you know, you feel like a sting, and you know, kind of look at it. So I think emotions are kind of like a way to evaluate yourself. see what's going on. It's kind of like a map guide of who you are, your emotions, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you want to go, party all night long. So yes, I feel like the Lord has given it to us. And then also, as like I always heard someone say, govern your emotions as well. Know when to do this, know when to do that. Like Moses, back at him again, when he struck the rock because he was angry instead of what was he supposed to tap it? Yeah, so
He was supposed to talk to the rock.
yeah, he was supposed to talk to it. Instead, he was like, "Whatcha?" So,
Right.
which caused more problems. If you would have govern emotion, see, hey, I'm feeling angry about this, and then you go to the Lord, be like, hey, what are you trying to show me? What's going on here? And then then we have to control the urge not to do something that that you feel the need to do. So that's how I see those emotions. So they're indicators, but then you have to know when and what to do at said time.
I like that you said that, Gabby, that when and what to do with those emotions. And it's almost like it's even good to start looking at emotions as indicators, because oftentimes we look at emotions and we're like, ooh, I'm mad and I'm gonna act on being mad, opposed to being like, I'm mad, what caused me to get mad? Like going down that trail to figure out what caused you to get to that emotion. And we're so quick to react on that emotion. So I really like that you pulled that out, because that's something I think that we don't think about often, that we should think about, So let's see, who wants to take up on this question next? I was like, Mariah, you look like you was ready to say something. So go ahead and hop in there, girl.
just like, dang it, did I make a face?
Yeah, she did.
Shoot.
I don't know. What was the question again? I just want to make sure I heard it right.
Yeah, because like I almost feel like we're talking about like just what emotions are right now, which probably
Yeah, that's what.
let's just start here. Like,
what are emotions?
What do you think emotions are? Which is kind of what we're already talking about.
So I actually looked up the word emotion, and it's a noun. And it means a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. So that is a definition of emotion.
Okay.
So when you give that definition, what does that mean to you?
It's one of those, when you're mad, you're mad. When you're happy, you're happy. It's like, it's like whatever feeling that you have at that exact moment. Like most of the time with me, it's just like I get annoyed very easily. Been working on that though. But one of the things for me is just like annoyance. Like every not everything, but like almost everything. It just annoys me. And that's just like something that I've been working on for myself. Like, yeah. But I do know like emotions is something that we have to learn how to like deal with, especially when it's to that point where, for example, with me, when I'm at work, I have to learn how to hide my emotions from how I feel at that moment, because working like front desk at a hotel, you deal with a lot of people and they come in, they start yelling at you, they sting, they just coming in there with, like, you could tell they on drugs and all that, but it's just like you have to hide all of that and put on this straight face, like, and you guys know me. You guys know what my facial expressions look. So you gotta understand how hard it is at sometimes. But I've learned now how to like kind of control that. But when I do get home, I be telling everybody, I'm like, look, today I was just pissed off at the world. Oh, excuse me. I meant mad at the world, but it's just something you just gotta learn how to deal with. And I feel like my job, it helps me with that part.
Right.
That's dope.
So I'm gonna just insert myself. I was like, ain't nobody pass it to me. I'm just gonna grab the ball.
He's like, excuse me, I feel left out here.
No, because like it's boiling something up in me, or it's boiling in my emotions right now.
You boiling?
No. So when I think about what emotions are, the first thing that came to mind is that emotions are actually like a blessing. Because we typically think about emotions like in a negative way, which a lot of times they are. but like it's a blessing because emotions are not always a bad thing. you know, I have emotional attachments like to my wife or to Manny or to what I do and like, you know, what I'm doing, all kind of stuff. And like emotions, everybody has emotions. And as much as like dudes want to believe in the false idea that only women have emotions.
Preach.
No, straight up. We like I know dudes want to believe that we don't got emotions, but we do, man. We do. Now they look different. You know what I'm saying? Like they are different, you know, between like guys and girls or whatever. But we have, so everyone got emotions. Kids got emotions. Adults got emotions. Dogs have emotions. You know, like it is crazy. So like whenever I think about it, I feel like whenever I think about my emotions, it's like I picture like this little kind of like weird cloud, you know, that sometimes it's stormy and sometimes it's sunny. Like it just kind of like over my head, but it's all coming from like out of me, you know. Like so it just like, you know, if I feel like some type of way about something, like if I feel like angry about something, like it just like my emotions like come out, you know, and like you see it on my face or whatever. Like I might try to hide it or whatever, but typically I wear my emotion on my face. For the most part, it's like you can, for the most part, tell if I'm like annoyed with you or like I'm just kind of over this situation or whatever. But yeah, overall, like when I think about emotions, I think them of being a blessing because like what everyone was saying is like it's an indicator of what we're feeling inside, you know. And it's circumstantial, like what Mariah was saying. Like sometimes I have joy, sometimes I have sorrow. You know, sometimes I feel loved and secure, and sometimes I feel alone. You know, so yeah. So
well, I'm emotional because you didn't say bless me when I sneezed. I just want to put that out there.
She sneezed?
See what I mean? He didn't even notice I sneezed. Gosh, just rude. I'm mad now. Grr.
So you're mad because I didn't acknowledge you spreading
like coronavirus. Nah, anyway.
Where my mask at?
Look, so Jarrell is in the building.
Yeah, what's up, boy?
And our ambassador. What's good with the guy?
What's good?
How's
bald
everything
head?
going?
Doing good.
See, I had to cover it up. I knew there was a hater lurking.
Oh, see.
I was feeling real emotional about it.
I can't.
Feeling real Carl Thomas up in here, emotional.
Hey, you know,
I may be a little bit too old for some of y'all, but you know.
You're good.
nah, you right on time.
Right. All right, AJ. So we're going to pass this buck to you so you can answer this question. I think you're the only person we haven't heard from the squad.
Have you said yours?
Yeah, I started.
Yeah. Dang, you're not paying attention at all, Seth. Wow.
It sounds like I'm on the same screen with her.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna start crying because
He's practicing social distancing in his mind.
Oh Lord.
For me, emotions, I'm gonna be real. How I grew up, emotions kind of became like a foreign object to me. It's like I know I have them, but through the different situations I went through and learned, I kind of like avoid to use them or deal with them as a more like I prefer to be a blank canvas most of the times. Like most of my emotions, if something happened or whatever, I just take it and stuff it. So like right, low key, I'm like a volcano that's sleeping. It's not about to erupt yet, so that's a good thing. But I know eventually it might happen where I'm going to erupt. But at this point, from where I'm at, I kept my emotions in check where I'm not really don't express them. And it's only because for me, emotions, like you said, there are indicators. And for me, they could be, I've always been a person who look at things the bad way. So my indicators, you can take my indicators and use it against me. So if you notice something that I'm happy or sad about, you can take that to use it against me. So I prefer you not to know how I feel about something. So then you won't be able to know how to come at me. That's my take on the emotions. Yeah. Now, granted, like when it comes to family and stuff like that, there's love and all that, but it comes to the point where even now, because of what I put up my walls around myself when it comes to my emotions, it's hard for me to express them to my own family, my wife and my kids. But I try to do things to show that I still love them, even though I can't verbally express it or show it, because I condition myself to just to keep it bottled up. So that's emotions in my life right now. So
right.
Yeah, no, thanks for being like real transparent about that, because I know it's not easy, especially like, man, it's not easy for y'all to talk about your emotions or how you feeling.
Nope.
And
it ain't, man.
I think just in general, it's easy for us to put walls up too, all of us, when it comes to emotions, because it's like we don't want people to hurt us, and so we'll put up those walls because it's like, well, if nobody knows how I feel, then I won't get hurt. But then in the long run, it's like you honestly end up hurting yourself more because of putting those walls up. So it's like this double, and I think like a big part of it too is those like shoulds and musts that we have like in our mind. It's like a lot of times like our emotions will always get heightened because we feel like somebody should do something or somebody must do something. And it's like, Lord, I remember like, so I was going through my therapy session and my counselor says to me, is there a law that says that they have to do something or that they should do something? And when I tell you I got so mad, I was like, well, it's the right thing to do. And he's like, but if they don't have to do it, it would be nice if they did, but they don't have to. And it's like, when you start looking at things from that perspective, it almost takes that, especially those negative emotions, it takes it from being like 10,000 and brings it down to like, it doesn't make it go away, but it brings it down to like at least half of that, if not a little bit lower, because you can start looking at things from that perspective of, okay, one, it gives you an opportunity to take the responsibility for your own emotions and not blame anybody else for what you're feeling. And two, it also gives you an opportunity to change the way that you're thinking about situations too. Because again, our emotions can also come from how we're thinking about situations, which is a whole nother subject. But back here, and it's okay. So with that being said, when it comes to our emotions, how can that affect our relationship with God? There we go.
In every way.
Right. Who wants to take this one? Because I see everybody just like had that moment.
I'll take it first.
Okay.
Woo.
I
AJ.
wanted to first. Now I'm mad.
What? Go first. Go first. No, go first.
No, go ahead. No,
Go.
go.
No, go.
Okay.
Because I want to be able to play the game later. So go first.
I'll break it. Anyways, okay. So I know with one thing, when it comes down to hearing God versus your emotions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That was the question. Okay. So I know like when you're in your feelings, whether you're happy, sad, most of the time, like just whatever emotion you're feeling, if God is trying to talk to you or even like try to communicate with you in any sort of way, it can kind of alter what like he says in a way. I can't explain. Hang on. So it's like, for example, if God tells you, you hear that feedback?
A little bit, but you're fine.
Okay. So example is when you hear God, and if God's telling you, for example, I need for you to go across the street and talk to the homeless man on the corner. But if you're in your feelings or if you're like overworked up on something else, you can misunderstand what he tells you to do, and you cross the street, but you don't talk to the homeless person. You end up going to go save a cat. Like, it's like you're just not completely doing what God told you to do because you're operating with your emotions instead of what he's telling you to do. And so being in your emotions, it can make you not clearly understand the instructions that God is giving you. So it can just mess you up completely in a way. I can't explain it.
No, I mean,
You explained it.
I feel that.
I'm like,
I feel that.
Okay, I just want to make sure it makes sense, because I know I can rumble and be all over the place. So
we can all ramble. This is a rambling podcast, if you haven't noticed.
Look, stop. Look, I'm mad at the facial expressions going on right now. All right, AJ, go ahead and hop in there.
Well, going off what Mariah said, when bending your feelings, you kind of like, when he talked to you, you kind of like not hear him clearly because you're still in your emotions. But also for the people that's like me, I can also be in my feelings and use that to misinterpret it on purpose for my purpose. For instance, like he could say, like he said, go across the street to talk to the homeless person. I heard go. I'm like, oh, he said I can go back home? Bet. So then I'm packing up myself and moving back home when I was trying to go. He said go, and that's all I heard. I cut out the rest of the sentence. I just heard go. I said, oh, that's all I needed to hear. He said go. So I'm not for the dip. Go do what I said. I said, he said go. And he's like,
I'm mad I can relate to that.
I was like, oh, God, I didn't know. You knew where I was at the whole time. Like then when it was like we tried to talk to him, like you know where I was at in my feelings now. You know I was gonna misinterpret it that way. So why would you put it? But at the same time, he puts things in that situation to test you at the same time. So if you're gonna do it that way, all you're doing is said, okay, I'm giving him this option to either do what I said or he gonna manipulate it to do it this way. I know he's gonna do it. Now, if you go this route, all I'm doing is just make it longer to what he needs to do. So for me, the emotions, when it comes to emotions and God, depending on how you are, like, I know I could be a petty person. So when I'm in my emotions, then if he talking to me at that same time, I'm gonna be petty with it. So if it's not in the way that I want it, then I'm just, you know what? I'll repent later. I'm gonna just do whatever he said, how I want to do it. So that's pretty much that.
You didn't do what he said.
Right? And then be mad the whole time, like, why you put me in this situation?
Well,
I put myself there.
So now you got to go through all of this unnecessary stuff because you didn't do what I told you to do in the first place. So now it's just taking you all the way around the world just for you to go straight down across the street. So that's your fault.
The Holy Spirit has just entered the podcast and is now giving us wisdom.
Look, I want to hear what Gabby got to say. I feel like Gabby got something good to say. Look, it was just, y'all.
Man, I hate to disappoint, but I don't.
Look.
It was like,
I was like, everybody was like, oh, okay, it was good, everything was making sense and all that. I was just listening.
She's like, I'm digging this.
all right, we'll come back to you, Gabby.
Yeah.
Camille, you got something?
Sorry. Okay, so what AJ and Mariah present is like right on point because we tend to make decisions for ourselves and then have an emotional reaction to God about the things that we choose for ourselves. So like as far as our spouses, everybody can attest to that. We can have a boyfriend or a girlfriend that was not really meant for us, for our jobs, where we live, all of those things. But I feel like we then turn around and say, okay, like God, we get mad at God. Like AJ said, why'd you put me here? Why did you make me go through this? But the greatest thing about that though is that even though we make our own choices, about to get churchy on y'all. But even though it's just the facts, but it's just like, even though it's just amazing though to me that even in all my wrongs, you know what I'm saying? Like there's still a place of redemption. You know what I'm saying? Like in that space, you know what I'm saying? Like my emotions could get the best of me, but still I learned something from that. Still God steps in and shows me something about that emotion or that choice, that reaction. And it doesn't always suit us. It doesn't always come out clean. It just doesn't. Some of that has long-lasting effects on how we then move after that. And I think that when we hear God versus our emotions, it becomes the fact that he makes a clear way Yeah, there might be bumps and bumps in the road, but he makes a clear path for us. You know what I'm saying? He'll put people in front of you. He'll send you to places. He'll, you know what I'm saying, have all of those things come in a turn. But I think that we also have to get from the place that emotion brings, what was the word you used, Gabby, about emotions?
Oh, crap.
Anyway, it was a great word, because Mish said it's something that we should all start looking at our emotions in this way. But
Indicators.
Yes,
indicators.
There we go.
Like, that's a great word to use. You know what I'm saying? Because God is also an indicator. God is also an indicator. So that is an amazing word to use, is because we fail to see the signs, whether good or bad, the indicators prior to the happenings, because God communicates with everybody different. God communicates with people through feeling. God communicates literally through hearing of his word, and God communicates with us for those through utterance. So that's the thing, is that however, whenever, whether it's a setback, it's always a set up. So that's how you can definitely
say that again.
No matter the setback, like when there's a setback, it's always a set up. So it's just like, those are the indicators. So you make a choice. God versus our emotions is still a choice, because there's still free will.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
AJ though.
AJ is like, yes.
Yeah.
So the question, the question was, like, do our emotions get in the way of us, like, hearing God, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. My goodness. My goodness. Absolutely. I find myself, like, I'm a deep thinker. It's a blessing and a curse. Like, so the reason why sometimes my emotions can get in the way of me and God's communication is because, depending on what I'm feeling, I sometimes actually blame God for my emotions. Because like, God, and like, this is the crazy part, is that God is actually, and it sounds weird, he is an emotional being. He gave us emotions because he has emotions. I mean, look, you look in the Old Testament, boy, he has some emotions.
Look, the earth was flooded.
And if you look in the New
Die by
Testament,
fire.
dude, no. And if you look in the New Testament, God has some emotions towards us, like strong emotions, like when God, is angry, then, he literally, like, sends down, like, fire, you know what I'm saying? But when I'm angry, I set down my mini fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, I'm only operating in the way that my creator made me to operate. But AJ, you said it, I am still responsible in governing my emotions, though. But sometimes I don't know how to even catch up with the way that I'm feeling. And so, like, my emotions can get way ahead of me, to the point, like, it's almost like I'm walking like a dog. It's like, I know my dog be tripping when it sees something that it wants, and then God is like, no, you can't have that thing right now for whatever reason. I'm like, look, I'm about to let my dog go. I'm about to let him go bite whatever he's gonna bite and bring back to whatever he's gonna bring back. And so, like, man, do my emotions get in the way? Heck yeah. But when I gather them, and when I do my best to, like when you, like, meditate, or when you pray, or when you, like, spend time in the word, or you get wisdom, counseling, like therapy, everybody in this house got a therapist by this point. It's like, whenever you can kind of get a hold of that, then my emotions can actually become an asset. When it comes to obeying God and listening to God, all kind of stuff. Like, I mean, you can feel it in my music, like, I don't, like, it's actually hard for me to write a lyric without some type of emotion. Actually, matter of fact, I would say that that's impossible. I don't, like, it's hard for me to write surface music because it's not, it doesn't do nothing here, and so the last thing I'm gonna say is that like yeah.
You getting emotional?
Right.
It's like, no, it just is crazy to me when I like really sit down and think about it. But I'm gonna say the rest of that for later because I think that's gonna link up with the rest of the conversation. But yeah.
So I have another question just for everybody. So you can like raise your hand. Yes, you can raise your hand if you want to, if you feel comfortable. So my question is, how many times have you personally seen yourself get into a situation that you wished you never were involved in because of emotions?
My first engagement.
Can we throw feet in here? Are we allowed?
Hands, feet, elbows, kneecaps, like no whole body, like
Man, real talk.
like mad, like because even as he was talking, like it just started making me think of like those situations that I got myself into. And the worst part about it is that I got myself into these situations and the people around me were like, don't do it. You don't need to do this. But because I was in my emotions, I was thinking, oh, I'm all bad, I can do this, or I'm mad at you, so I don't want to listen to what you have to say. I got into a situation that I should have never been in. So then I wanted to be mad about the situation and the outcome of the situation when the situation was over. But I put myself in the situation because of my emotions.
And then she got a better situation.
Pause. So, but you see, just right there in itself, how my emotions put me into this bad relationship because this is what I felt like I needed, even though everybody was telling me I didn't need it. And then the relationship was bad. So then there's more emotions brewing. And then, it's like, but I don't want to go because what am I going to do? So then it's like you get that weird place of, do I go left? Do I go right? And then you get out of the relationship and you look back and you see all the things that relationship put you through emotionally, and it makes you mad all over again. And so it's like this consistent, not even consistent, this cycle of crazy frustration, anger, pain, hurt, negative emotions, just because I wanted to be in my feelings. But then when I decided to get out of my feelings, I got that one. And praise the Lord for that one, because that was definitely with the place that I was in. It's like, okay, God, I'm listening to you. I'm hearing what you're saying now. It's like, I'm not going to keep listening to the negative emotions that I have. I'm not going to keep walking in this place of frustration and anger and hurt, because though it's something I need to use to help work on myself and to better myself, I'm not going to stay in that place. It's like, again, using it as that dang, why does that word keep slipping everybody's head tonight? But
Indicator.
The indicator, thank you. Using it as that indicator to say, okay, I need to do something different. And then being able to do something different and get better and grow from it. So yeah, no, that's good. So we are gonna open up the floor very shortly for questions and everything and comments. So just hold on to your questions if you have them very shortly. Cool.
So,
Go ahead.
there are people trying to get in, but yes. But nevertheless, like, what were you were saying something about when you got out of your bag, basically, then the door opened, right? Like, I feel like sometimes when it definitely comes to like spirit, we stand in front of our own, we stand in front of our door. Like, we are the stoppers to our doors from everybody. We hear a lot of sermons about the blessing being on the other side of the door. And I think that that's sometimes where we come in with our emotions. We get these hard walls, which is why there's God soften my heart. God help my unbelief. God, you know what I'm saying? And then it's also, sorry guys, because they're trying to get in and they want to get in. All right, so all of these things that come into play, that's God versus our emotions. Like, we have to lean on God, our faith and our belief, to help us conquer those things. And it's not about us. We can be angry. God doesn't say we're not supposed to anger easily. It's about that patience. But also, too, it's what you do with your anger. It's what you do with your frustrations. It's what you do with your sadness. It's what you do. And let's just flip it on the other side. Count it all joy. We can have joy. We can have peace. We can have fulfillment. We can have honor. We can have respect. All of these things, like, they're both qualified emotions, but it's what we do with them. Everybody can be, if it's happy, it's all gold and glitter dust on this side, then it's cool. But now on this side, we don't know what to do when it's not the yellow brick road anymore. We still have to travel down the yellow brick road with a different expectation and perception about that thing. Like, and we are all in a place literally where we still are growing. We still are processing. None of us on here has made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. So it's not more so about whether or not you have got to deal with the situation. Is, do you have the patience to process what you have experienced and you have exposure to? How do you separate that? How do you make that work? So yeah, so it's you can have both emotions, but I think that society has not, or just what we've experienced, we haven't been trained to deal with the hard things, which is why we get to dark places, which is why we are silenced. Because at home, in home especially, it's that whole concept of what goes on in my house stays in my house. Right. It's that whole concept of you don't tell my business, and you definitely don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not telling you my business, because now that's a little too open, too vulnerable. I don't know what's going, like it's a whole bundle of things. But I guarantee you, anybody who's ever cried it out, talked it out, wrote it out, prayed it out, danced it out, those things are a release of emotions. But God has given us gifts, every last one of us, to get it out how we need to in order to grow. See, the emotion is the seed planted, but how we water our emotions is what we see flourish in our outside selves and our inside selves.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Hold on, AJ just got up out the chair, so I need to know what revelation he got from what, because I'm like, he literally got up out the chair, walked, turned back around, and like came back. So
right.
Yeah, because like she was hitting on it, like what he was putting in my head when she was explaining is like, you know how we said no matter what the situation is, we have our own emotions to it before, and sometimes we don't link up with God. And I was just thinking about low key our emotions that we have, because if they're not lined up with God yet. So that means if your emotions are not lined up with God at the moment yet, so you're still just on your own. The whole process, he put you through the situations where you reacting yourself. Like she said, it's basically we're in basic training right now. Mm-hmm. How I see it. So he put you in situations and you're reacting to it yourself. And over time, as you learn and you get smarter and you react better and you have the right emotions towards something, now you're training towards what you need to. So when he finally put you in your situations that you need to be, you react to it the way you're supposed to. Like in basic training, they get you in there, they break you down where like you're nothing, and then they build you back up to where they need you to be. So no matter what situation comes your way, you know how to handle it. Like they won't just grab old Bill, Jillian, John, grab them, just put them in the war like they did back in the day. They just draft them and then they send them off. And then they were like, I don't know what to do. So then they over there fighting a war, not knowing the skills, having the skill sets or the right mindset to handle the situation there. So then after all that happens, they said, we need to put them through basic training. They get them through training so they prepared. So as for us, our basic training is he gonna put situations, okay, this need to happen. I'm gonna put this in front of them. I'll put this in front of them, see how they react. Okay, this is how they react. Then we put this in front of them so then they know how to react to that better. And then once he sees that you molded to where you're supposed to do, you graduate to your path now. So now you're going where you need to go, and you have the right emotions in place. So no matter what pops up, your emotions will react accordingly to him, how they should. So in order for you to move forward. So that's why I was like, when she was saying like we ain't have the right training, like, oh man, it's like basic training. It's like whatever situation you're going through now in life, just picture it as basic training. If there's something that's always making you mad, that means you need to get that fixed. So when the real thing comes to you, because whatever making you mad now is a small thing compared to what's coming and further in life. So with that happening, whatever situations or emotions you go through a lot every day, you go through your emotions almost every day. There's some emotion that triggers every day, the same exact emotion or a form of it every day. That means he's working on you. So once you get that in check and he likes it, you notice there's when, like for me, I used to get mad a lot about anything, but now it seems like things that used to make me mad don't make me mad no more. And so those type of situations don't happen no more. So now it's like all these other emotions are getting triggered. So that's the for me, that's how the whole process goes. Like we're in basic training every day. He puts certain in our way to trigger the certain emotions he need to get fixed, or we need to get a better handle on. So when our final test comes or our real project begins, we have the right emotions that's in check with him, so they're one, and then we be able to do what we need to do.
Yeah, no, that's good. And even what you were saying was like the what may come, it's also like the who may come, because it's not just the what, it's a who. And we all know we have the who. And it's not even that we've arrived yet. And we still working through ours, and you got the who's coming or the what's coming. So no, that was good.
Yeah.
That was legit. No, I appreciate you bringing it, like taking it to that place. So we are going to go ahead and open up the floor to any comments, because I know a couple people were raising their hands like while we're talking, so we definitely want to hear what you have to say. And then I know Jarrell also posted a question in here, and I'm going to answer your question real quick. Emotions are not, I wouldn't say they are a good or a bad thing. Emotions are just that.
Wait, so wait, what was the question?
It was, our emotions are good or a bad thing?
Oh, they're both, yeah.
Yes, so I would say that they are not a good or a bad thing. They are just emotions. And it's all about how you move through them. Go ahead, Gabby.
What you need from.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the video, Jarrell, one of the things that came to me, I said that emotions are actually a blessing. Because like we've been saying, they're an indicator of what's going on in here. Without emotions, we would be very blank. we wouldn't know what's ever going on in here. Like we would just be like super empty. But yeah. So what's that? Questions?
Oh yeah, no. So the floor is open. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute,
or just anything to add.
or just comment, something to add. We want to hear your input.
Mr. Scott, we see you, but we cannot hear you. 1 second.
Yeah, are we good yet?
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Now? Okay. I might have my finger over because I'm pretty good with push the mute button, but sometimes I be slipping. But yeah, thanks so much for having this forum. Camille, what up? Thank you for just letting me know about this. It was crazy. I just walk in and I'm like hearing about emotions. I'm sure you guys are covering so much. I don't know if we talked about like emotional intelligence, just knowing yourself, what triggers you, how you respond to it, but then not even just personal, looking generally, how do people respond to different things? What are general triggers? Coming into an understanding of that. Seth, that point that you made just at the end here about emotions, what you guys were both saying, emotions are just that. They are a blessing. One thing I try challenge myself with is what is this emotion pushing me towards? You know, is there something that's making me mad? One thing I struggle with, like, and it's coming together now, but it's still something the enemy still try to come and beat me up with. But it's like, I get angry and I just want to like be out. I'm just like, you know what? Just peace, chuck the deuces up. I'm good. And knowing that when I start getting a feeling and it starts making me feel like I want to bounce, I've learned now that feeling is not for me. I need to get that thing in check. Self-control. You know, we talked about self-control, and then I think it was brother AJ, he's talking about the basic training. Absolutely, mate. We in a battle. You already know we're soldiers in the kingdom of light, and there's got to be training grounds. One thing I wanted to encourage you with, don't ever, and to the coach, she's going to know about this too, don't ever downplay the training ground, because there's something powerful that's happening there. So it's like, oh, duh, I'm just training, whatever. I breeze through this, and I've been guilty of that. But I have to learn and discipline myself. No, maximize this. Even if it's a training ground, I'm still getting blessed by it. And guess what? It's not all about me. There's other people in my little platoon or whatever. They getting blessed by seeing me go through stuff too. And just like you said, bro, I just wanted to echo the point you made, AJ, about how he's preparing us for something that's coming down the road. Me and my boys, we used to joke about like Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. He got, you know what I mean? He got you out here thinking this thing. Exactly, wax on, wax off. He got you over here thinking you doing this, man. Why am I doing this, man? This old bust down fence, ain't nobody worried about this. But then when he got in that tournament, what's up? Muscle memory. Praise God. So, yeah, just a couple things right there, man. Hey, man, that's all I got.
Absolutely. Man, I've been seeing you pop up everywhere I go, man. I'm like, oh, there's that dude again.
Praise God.
I was like, man, what's up? Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Thanks for coming, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you for having it.
Yeah. So we only got what, a few more minutes. But what was there any other comments or questions from our guests today at all? They're just pictures, so I can't see what they're doing. I can't see their emotions.
right, they're emotionless right now.
Oh, here we go.
Seth,
sorry.
What is this forum? Oh, my bad. Somebody talking.
Oh, yeah. All right, go ahead.
No, sorry. I had some unexpected guests just pop over. So hello, everyone. My name is Nicole, Camille's bestie. Thank you for the invite as well. I just think it's very interesting to talk about emotions and God and where we go first. I'm married, so which just made a year. So if you are married or you know the struggle, you do. Thank you, because no one told me the type of struggles I would be going through as a first-year wife, and also understanding the Lord and what my position is, and how to be a submissive. And I can keep going on, but emotions is something that's real for me, and definitely has evolved over the years. But I know anytime that I'm closer to God, I am having Him with me. You know, it's more of a practice, a daily practice to call on the Lord when you're in the midst of your struggle, because we can go easily to emotions. And Camille knows I could definitely get tangled up in emotions, and definitely understand the absence of the Lord and what it looks like when you go through it. But also understanding, you know, when you're dealing with emotions, you're fighting, and you're fighting yourself, and having the understanding that you have to step out of the way because the Lord has already made a way for you. And sometimes when we get caught up in our emotions, we can't see that path very clearly. And I just know I just recently kind of going in and out of things recently, and understanding the importance of having Him with me all the way through. When I'm getting upset, when my husband is speaking to me, and in the moment I'm like, Lord, I'm talking to you, help me, watch my tongue, watch my my breathing, my tones. I'm sure we all are familiar with that. Let me just be real. But definitely just having a teachable heart and understanding emotions is part of the flesh, but how we choose to walk and how we allow God in our life to help us walk, I think is the biggest takeaway when it comes to emotions. And yes, the indicator is real. And I think it just indicates the work that you still need to have done in your heart and where the Lord is trying to show you so he can help you.
Definitely.
So that's kind of just all I wanted to share. When you were speaking about, I was like, oh yeah, I jumped right in. So I apologize.
I got emotions too. Yes, absolutely.
I just want to touch on the basis of Minister Aaron said emotional intelligence. Yo, like,
that's the whole thing.
That's a
you can read about it more.
Yeah, like if
I told you we need a part two.
If you can come back and kind of touch bases on that part, because the emotional intelligence, people don't even know what triggers them. Right. People don't even know themselves enough to say that bothered me. Now,
you get tossed around like a rag doll. You get tossed around by your feelings, because you don't even know what's happening.
It's crazy. Like when he said that, I said, "Oh my goodness!" Y'all know I like to say I could have twisted my wig if it could move, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things to where it's one of y'all know me. That's just me. But real talk though, to come to a place of knowledge with yourself is in your investments with God. Because he created you.
I'm gonna be honest. When we get in fights with our spouse or with our girlfriends or boyfriends or whomever, our loved ones, I think what people tend to forget is you're supposed to see God first in them in that moment.
Yep.
And I feel like our emotions allow us to forget that. And it's like, he's made me angry, my husband. I don't see God in that right now. And for me, that shows my heart and that how I need to see where I can better help him or better understand things or work through the process, not get angry at the process, and be understanding that we're all used as such tools in God's plan, not our own. And I just wanted to touch on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, because I think that actually almost that goes back to just those shoulds and those musts that we always have in our mindset that come out. They should do this and they should do that, because that's where those frustrations and that anger and the emotions get heightened because of those emotions or those things, those precepts that we already have in our mind. So yeah, no, I fully agree. I think we are going to go ahead and do a part 2 on this. And we'll definitely hone into the emotional intelligence piece. I know we tapped into it a little bit, but we'll definitely go deeper with that, since we talked today about just how our emotions can affect our relationship with God, but it's like, how do we navigate those emotions, or how do we get and govern our emotions? How do we become intelligent in regards to our emotions, so that way we can make sure that these things don't become a hindrance in the future when it comes to our relationship with God, our relationship with our family, with our spouse, with our friends, with coworkers, with people in the ministry. So yeah, we will definitely be doing a 2 and a 3. I'm sorry, I just read that comment. We'll definitely be doing a 2 for this, and may even find a way to tie that into self-love, because I think a big part of emotional intelligence is going to have to do with self-love. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be smart with your emotions. So we will definitely, we're gonna definitely tie those 2 things in together. Do we have any other comments? Because I know we're about to wrap up for tonight. This has been a fire conversation. Thank you everyone for your input. This has been great, and I'm excited. On the 31st will be our next one. So sorry, it's not gonna be next Friday, but it'll be on the 31st to give us some time to regroup, come back together. What's up?
I have a whole dentist appointment on that, so my teeth should be like on a whole nother level. So make sure to bring your sunglasses. It's gonna be nuts.
or he won't be able to talk as much. One of the two is gonna happen.
One of the two.
Don't know just yet.
Does our ambassador, Mr. Jordan, do you have anything you have to say?
As the apostle logs on.
Right, as
So
our
we're about to wrap it
apostle
up.
logs on.
Yeah, I do have something to say. This was good. I really enjoyed listening to you guys. And I look at emotions as my indicator as well. I used to deal with anger on a real high level. But after I started focusing on Jesus and lining myself back up with the Lord and looking at what he said about being angry and sin not, and stuff like that, I had to, when anger rose, started getting in me like that, I had to start stepping back and starting to see, hey, what's wrong with me? Why is this person, what are they doing to make me so upset? And then I had to tweak myself so that I wouldn't have a outburst of rage or lash out or anything like that, like my son is doing right now. When we get emotional, he wants to talk. When we get emotional, we need to figure out what the Lord is saying through our earthly filters. What we need to do in that situation. We need to check our God meters. We got to look at our God levels, see what God is saying, how we should react in those opportunities. When we have an opportunity to get mad, we have an opportunity to let the word of God speak through that anger or get things back in line. So I too, like most of you all, look at my emotions as an indicator and what needs to be done in that situation, or what the Lord is trying to do through me in that situation. Or do I need to stand down and stand still and watch the Lord do what he do? That's all I got to say. Just keep doing what y'all doing, because it's great.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that.
100.
All right.
Yes.
Apostle, we just saw you hopped on here, so we figured we will open the floor to you as well if you would like to say anything before we log off.
He said, I'm incognito.
Right.
He said, I'm not even by the camera right now.
Stop.
Funny, but I'm by my camera, but you will not see my face this time. I love y'all, and I just wanted to just to slip on real quick, just to actually see some of the faces. What I was hearing, it was lit, and keep it up. Appreciate y'all.
He said it was lit, y'all. You hear that?
He said it was lit.
He got to come in like the Holy Spirit.
Look,
straight lit. I think I'm gonna have to chime in on the next go around with that emotional intelligence, because that's huge as well. So
most definitely.
That's one of my it's one of my specialties. So I look forward to hearing what y'all got to say about it. Peace out.
Yeah. Awesome.
Straight lit, the opposite.
Apostle, y'all.
Yes.
Real quick. So before we go, y'all know I love my movies and stuff. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this movie, but it shows how sometimes when we're not in control of our emotions, they control us. So the best movie where it shows emotions that control somebody is the movie Inside Out.
Yep. Mention that movie.
When you're not when you're not in one with God and you let your emotions take over, it's almost like they're in control of everything. So then they're controlling the little girl. She didn't have control. Whatever situation came their way is based on what the emotions felt at that moment. So the anger one didn't like the whole image. He took over the whole thing. He said, "I'm gonna be angry at it." And now she portrayed anger at it. So that's we have to look at it like that's how we can let our mindset go when we're not in one with God. The emotions just automatically look at it. The first thing, like you said, the emotional intelligence. If you don't know that's a trigger, that emotion is going to let you know that's the trigger already and takes over. So if you needed a visual or a movie to show how the emotional intelligence shows when you don't know what your trigger is, the emotion tells it for you. That shows it for you right there. So
for sure. All right. Well, as y'all all know, know, it's a smoothment. And we will see you again on the 31st. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
So cold. Yep. Jesus hit him with that stunner like he's stone cold. Then I raised from the tomb into some royalty that's rose gold. We gotta have your foot on the accelerator. Going up. We gotta have your foot on the accelerator. Going up. We came in with no reservation. Came in with no hesitation. Came in with no medication. But we left with all the validation. Room. Once I was done, we dropped the mic, then we dip like room.
All right, y'all. And we out.
Deuces. Movement. Out.